Alright, folks, welcome back. Game number 1 in a best of 5 coming at you in the losers match of the European Group number 1 for the TING Open. One of these two players will sadly disappear from the tournament forever. And of course, Bly is currently referencing the invites to IEM that were unveiled today. A lot of players were very unhappy with that. I guess the draw that happened. I have no strong opinions on that, but anyways, this is the TING Open, brought to you guys, of course, by TING. Thank you so much, TING, for sponsoring this tournament. You guys can check them out at bttv.ting.com, and please make sure to use this link, because if you decide, hey, I'm a good Samaritan and I'm going to sign up for TING to save esports, and you don't use this link, we won't get credit and you won't count. Then you'll also be missing your $25 in credit. But what's cool is this has happened a couple of times already, and folks have actually let us know, and Jesse has been really cool and retroactively applied the $25 in credit, and in turn also it registers, hey, BaseTradeTV brought these people to us. So if you guys have registered for TING but you didn't use our code or our link or anything like that, please let Jesse or us know so that we can get that resolved. That being said, it's a US mobile phone service. Again, United States only. Sad. But great if you're in the United States. Bottom left side of the map, 3-hatch opener. So get into this party. It's the Blue Zerg, Acer's Bly.
In the top right, as the pink Protoss, it's Invasion Esports Harstem.
Right, esports. And Harstem in the losers match isn't astounding to me. Again, with the player lineup of what we had, we kind of knew which direction this was going to go. But I do hope to see him bring this back, because Harstem, a little story for those who didn't really follow the qualifiers, was literally the only player to qualify through and actually earn a spot here in the TING Open. Everyone else that's Protoss that you're going to see in these upcoming events, Mana, Naniwa, I guess Patience already died, rip, they were all invited back. They didn't actually win their qualifiers.
Yeah. So, a lot of high hopes for him, but so far not looking so hot against Zerg. I guess more, well, he did lose 2 games to, kind of just, one game was a complete cheese with the Queens and the Roach Ravager. One game was just Arena with a Roach Ravager attack, which can be very hard because of the map. And the third game, that one I was hesitant to call not his fault. Although, oh god, I just started an argument on Twitch chat. Because he did end up overextending on Dusk Towers, which we're now on, with Immortals, when I think Harstem on a better day would not to have done that. So
I agree.
Can't blame Zerg entirely if Harstem does get knocked out of the group here, even though they do have some pretty strong cheeses, and Bly would certainly be the one to use them. But that is something to be said, is that there is just tough times for Protoss all around. That might be why he was one of the only Protoss to make it through.
Thank you, by the way, to Sinsky Wind for new subscriber hype. Really helped by making us feel better about all the bad things that went on with the stream. You are actually subscriber 1084. How is this number still climbing? We should have just... I feel like everyone who's in StarCraft that would have subbed has subbed at this point. How are there anyone left? That's amazing.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so...
Hopefully we have another 4,000 to get.
Well, shoot for the stars, right? I think OGaming's got something like 2,200 or 300 or something, so... we know that the ability is out there. Anyways, Phoenix opener for this is going to be nice. It's going to pick off not just 1, but 2 Overlords. This shuts down scouting. This shuts down the fear of a potential Nidus Swarm getting into your base, but also just straight up supply blocks Bly for a bit.
Yeah. Doom War was on the way, so that's not for very long. Bly did go for that super... macro opener and is using that to get to a Ling Hydra attack fairly quickly here, which is going to be very hard for Harstem to hold. Whether you go Disruptors, Immortals, or Phoenixes, I guess is the opener. It's still going to be hard to hold against so many Lurkers and Hydras coming at you so quickly, and this has certainly killed a lot of other Protosses in the past. So we'll see when Bly decides to actually push out with it. Harstem should be having in mind to scout, see what it is. And I think he's going to see the Hydras before he even sees the Lurker Den. Oh, no, he sees the Lurker Den.
It is the scariest looking building when it's transforming. Whoever decided that should be the design of it was not a
Whoever designed that was a fan of Georgia O'Keeffe. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I remember that. Yeah, we talked about that before. All right, so the Phoenixes are not going to get a whole hell of a lot more. They are out of energy, but for Harstem, his Phoenix control's always been pretty good. Rarely do we see him accidentally fly them over a bunch of Hydras. Not saying it won't happen. Let's be honest, it happens to everybody at some point. But for the most part, we actually see him with pretty good control and map presence with these. Now, he did identify that the Hydras came up pretty early, and as you pointed out, he saw the Lurker Den. So I think he knows that he can't really be too focused on them. Because back at home, that second Robo, once it finishes up, he needs to get that Immortal count going, and he needs to start pumping them.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a hard hold no matter what. You know, the biggest difficulty, I would say, is not just having the units, but actually finding good position, because you're going to be pushed up against your own wall here, as they are almost guaranteed to be allowed to go across the map and get on top of your ramp. There's just not much else pros can do to stop that. If they try and suicide at depths to pull the Lurkers back, then you just, threw away half of your army that was actually desperately needed. So you just concede to defending at your ramp, at your third, which can cause a lot of SimCity problems for both parties, obviously. You hope that the Photon Overcharges can maybe snipe a couple of key units before the battle even really starts, but the Lurkers get up close and personal right off the bat.
The Harstem's supply isn't super crazy bad in this situation, but his detection's a little bit late. He's relying on Revelation. The Immortals are not out to one-shot down the Lurkers, and that's what's really key for this. You need those 4 Immortals to all hit at the same time just to knock each Lurker down 1-1-1, but as we see, it's not going to be the case. He does dive in and crowd control some, though. This makes this a little more manageable. But the Immortal count's still a little bit low. The Ling's getting on top of this. The Overcharge is doing what it can. He's going to keep the Mothership going back so it doesn't get picked off. But the Photon Overcharges are not... They're not carrying in this. This is getting pretty desperate. This is getting pretty dire. Harstem down to 20 supply, and no way to really push up into those Lurkers. In fact, I think he lost all his detection through this too. Just the Oracle.
Yeah, I think so, because the Overseer was there. It did get picked off, so he wouldn't have to worry if he got another Observer, but I don't think he's noticed yet. He's just a million other things going through his mind right now. Bly did have a very, very long lull in production and reinforcements. Now 15 Hydras are coming across the map, but this was a perfect time for Harstem to actually clean this up, which he is finally doing.
Yeah, he's going to get those pylons back down ASAP. He's going to need more overcharges if the Mothership Core's got energy. I like the Zealots for this, because if they had charge, they would be so good versus these Hydras. Unfortunately, not the option. It's still being researched.
New sub, Murgnab. Thank you for subbing.
Murgnab. Backwards is Bangrim.
Bangrim, actually.
Bangrim. And
So,
integrate this function resubbed as well at the same time. Thank you both.
Nice. So attacking with just purely Hydras can be very dangerous. If these are charge lots, they would actually get ripped to shreds. But he's, targeting down some very key units. Got the Militia Corps, gets the Phoenixes. Lets the Void Rays go, gets the Immortal, but then gets the Void Rays.
Barrier's almost off cooldown, but it gets picked off. This Immortal does have Barrier back up finally. The Oracle is going to hold. And again, a lot of just barely stuff happening here. But for Harstem, if he can ever bulk something up, Bly's going to eventually just win through just throwing bodies at him.
Yeah. They're both on a very nice economy. Bly was able to get a 4th base and saturate at 71 drones. Harstem hasn't had to pull the probes yet. But it is that case where, Harstem is never going to be able to get up to a nice army unless he can finally take that great fight. That might happen when he has charge. Maybe if he can actually pump out Storm. But it's going to be difficult. Bly is just relentless pressure. He's getting a 5th base now as well. So not just looking towards... not just staying on the mid-game, but... looking towards the later stages too, as he also starts an upgrade, which he skipped entirely for this push.
This is starting to get a little out of hand. Charge is done, but it's just it's 2 Zealots charging, it's 3 Zealots charging, and it's not that massive amount that you want. Tries to focus on top of the Lurkers. Again, 4 Immortals will be that one shot that you really want to have, that sweet spot for damage, but with so many Hydras out, you can't even get in range of those Lurkers. Phoenix is just coming forward only to die, and Harstem backs up to his mineral line, but he's going to lose the Robo. Bly doesn't even have to fight here at the third. He can just go straight up to the natural base, through the main. Excuse me. But GG is going to get called, and Harstem will fall, and Bly will take map number 1.
Congratulations. Doesn't seem like Harstem's day for PvZ.
No. A lot of Protoss are struggling with this matchup right now. We're seeing that in Europe more than every other region, of course. Showtime had a pretty good run. We've seen some players try and do more all-in open builds to stop this before it gets out of hand, but I don't know. Just in general, this is This is a matchup that's been favoring Zerg a bit whenever we see it.
Yeah, there is a bit of a funny aspect where if you do get past a certain point, it does seem like Protoss are actually favored. So when they actually have that mass immortal count, which is why Harstem throwing the last Dust Towers game was kind of sucked. But up until that point, like all the Roach Ravager all-ins, all the Muta swaps you can anticipate, the Ling drops, like all of that seems to... It's just too plentiful for the Protoss to keep up with. We'll see what we can do in Lairlac Crest against Bly. On Lairlac. On Lairlac. On Lairlac.
And there's going to be 8 of them in total. This is the third one in. Going to be best of 5s, more best of 5s, and some more best of 5s. And I hope you guys are enjoying the format for this. It's actually timing out pretty well, schedule-wise. Pretty much exactly how I was hoping it would, so that's awesome. But we are getting into game number 2 in this particular best of 5. Reminder that this is a dire matchup. The loser of this will be gone from the tournament entirely and completely. In the upper right, we got the blue Zerg player, Acer's Bly.
In the top left, as the pink Protoss, he's Harstem.
So this is interesting out of BTP Apocalypse, one of our subscribers. I don't know if this is true, but he says Lurkers reburrowing after being graviton beamed is a glitch, and it only happens when the Lurker attacks and gets picked up at the same time. And I can kind of I can connect the dots in my brain as to why that would happen, but we've been seeing it happen so inconsistently about whether things get reburrowed or not, so I don't actually know what's intended and what's the glitch, you know?
Yeah. I remember mentioning that some other people, and it might have been him too, were saying that, and like I saw a couple of rumors, I suppose, but I was never sure. I just chalked it up to maybe I was mistaking it with the other way that lurkers can be grabbed up. But yeah, Bly taking this forward base. Harstem has already dealt with this with Lambo, and he did end up losing to this Roach Ravager, or just Roach, Queen all in.
Yeah, so we're not saying this will go the same way that what happened with Lambo, but if Bly is a smart cookie and he identifies the base with this scout, he's going to know, oh, well, I've set up perfectly for this, regardless of whether I intended to or not.
Yeah. And Harstem is going to be able to scout it too. Of course, he scouts the natural first, but might check the corner, the pocket base, and then be like, oh, that's what's happening.
The problem I kind of find, though, is, and this is definitely my lack of seeing enough Protoss versus Zerg, because it feels like every tournament we cast is quickly Protoss versus Zerg, then Zerg versus Zerg, Zerg versus Zerg, and more Zerg versus Zerg in Europe specifically, is we don't actually see enough players getting hit with this particular attack in the first place, much less defending it well enough to be like, yep, this is definitively what should happen.
Maybe once every 4 PvZs on this map, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, up until recently, it was just straight up that Roach Ravager 80 supply attack, right? Like, just get in there and hit hard.
And then, before that, before Lairlac was changed, it was the Ling all-in. Basically, Lairlac Crest, despite its best attempts being fixed, especially for this matchup, where Protoss always have the more difficult time getting the third base, still isn't perfect.
First blood over here. Just watching that pro, I was waiting to see if he's going to build something.
Yeah. Guess not, just chilling. Now he has to worry about this attack. It is actually all Lings right now, and they're not going to have speed anytime soon. It's a little funny seeing Harstem so scared by this, but it's a lot of Lings.
Well, his Mothership Core's not out yet, so he's got a right to be scared by this. He just doesn't have the units to stop this from doing damage. Like, it's questionable about what he does damage to, but he's guaranteed to do damage when it's set up like this. By the way, next, it says new sub, but he's a 20-month returning sub, so thank you very much. Now, Pylon can still get cancelled. Gets killed, unfortunately. The Adepts have mostly cleaned up this initial attack, but with this creep... this creeping queen... kind of gives some indication as to what's coming.
This is not the Roach Ravager attack, if it wasn't clear by the amount of Lings. So, I think both are viable. The Ling attack won't be able to live for a very long time, but if it actually breaks the wall, then it gets everywhere, like roaches. So that's the hope. And if he can't break this wall, then you can just try going for the rocks.
Right, and the rocks, we saw Harstem responded pretty quickly by putting a wall up here. So if he identifies that that's the case, we'll see what happens. But the Oracle I actually really enjoyed, because he did see that was a lot of Lings, that wasn't Roaches and Ravagers. And the Oracle is actually so good versus Zerglings And, of course, let's not forget Queens as well. And while we joke around about that Goblin build, it's something where, in this game, if there's like 3+ Oracles on the field, it's actually going to do quite well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how Bly is gonna break this.
With
He's
determination
trying,
and force of
but-
will, that is Acer
Yeah,
Bly in a
apparently.
nutshell.
He could have gone for an Evo Chamber and tried to drop, so at least there's more surface area on the pylons when you try and kill them, but he didn't go for that. He didn't go for the rocks.
Harstem
That
didn't
was
put
on
a
a
second
wall-off.
pylon down. I think he
Hey.
thought that was a wall-off. Like, yeah, if the second pylon was down, this wouldn't have been a problem. Does get a warp in over here, so the Adept's going to keep this from spiraling too far out of control, but this is still getting messy.
Yeah, Queens are the sound you hear attacking the wall still. They look a little silly. More Lings. He droned about, like, 8 more drones, something like that, but it's still not a very good count at 30 to 39. And Harstem also managing to keep his army alive. Like, there's been not much trading, just mostly Bly hitting his head against the wall. Very, very questionable. Very questionable as to why he went for Lings as opposed to the Roach Ravager attack we
Yeah.
were talking about.
Maybe
I guess
he wanted to give Harstem a game.
yeah, he wanted to actually have, just 3-0 him. It might have been because those first 12 Lings, which are only meant to be, supplement to the Roach Ravager, did so much. He was like, oh, I gotta go now, like, take advantage of the fact I just killed a pylon. But then it didn't. Then it didn't do anything else. So I don't know. Now he's getting a Roach Warren. Now he's getting drones. But Harstem, he defended a week all in and should be good to go in this game.
Right, but he doesn't see the back rocks coming down. The Oracles that left the base, they didn't actually see that. So they get over here and they might get some kills. They can definitely kill the Queen. There's no question about that. But if he doesn't see those Lings and there's enough that slipped by... This isn't enough. But if there's enough that slipped by, his army could fall.
Let's get another Queen. Running out of energy, however. Could have gotten maybe 1 or 2 more drones. And Bly is also in a predicament because he did take this aggressive base that's, any
Awkward.
reinforcements from Harstem don't really need a warp prism. They just, they're pretty quick. Bly, or Harstem is going to have to take the third base in his pocket here. So the rocks being broken down, it might get a cancel on that third if he doesn't anticipate them. The third's not really brand new. It's halfway done, but that's enough Lings with a half surround on them. The Oracle comes back, wants to save it. Doesn't want to cancel.
The Oracle might just get this. It's the
So
left, right looks so funny.
Close. He really doesn't want to cancel, but now it's just going to be a weak Nexus. He doesn't have to cancel, and that's all of the Lings. That was really all of Bly's army as well, so I don't even know that third is important. He's like, he's winning with his army.
Yeah. Now he's gonna fall back because the roaches are a little bit scary, but he's got a third Oracle somewhere. I swear he does. Did he lose it? I guess no. I just don't know where it is. Because one of these Oracles should have energy, but I guess he used it here in
2
defense.
plus the 1.
Yeah.
So the Resident Glaze isn't done, neither is the +1, but even without it, I think he would have traded out fine with the Roaches, especially with the Photon Overcharge. But realizing that it is mostly Roaches, although more Queens are being added in, goes for Void Ray to help out, as the Oracles did their job against the Lings.
Yeah, I guess with still little anti-air as well, that Void Ray is going to have a wonderful time just killing everything. But the that third base dying for Bly really sucked. Like, it's one thing that his drone count wasn't so great in the first place. It's the fact that he didn't kill Harstem's third. Like, if it was third for third, cool. You bounce off this a little bit better. But Harstem's army is, well, not super effective against what's out. Bly's not very good at defending either.
His Ravagers, they could have had a really good Corrosive Biles, but then they die so quickly, so easily.
The Oracles come in, they're going to hunt them down like the dogs they are. Oh god, popping off these disgustingly corpsey bodies.
Bly with the forward stag defense was kind of clever there, but of course only one finished and the rest died. His third base is going to die again, and Harstem takes Lerlac.
Yeah, this is great because we thought, like, I mean, you look at the way he handled this versus Lambo earlier, and that attack was so good. Bly doing, not the same build, so it didn't go the same way, but man, this attack still for Bly could have killed Harstem, but didn't. Harstem with a really solid defense. I mean, I don't want to call it right now. It's not like, oh my god, ties up the series 2-2. We'll see you guys in game 3. But it is getting to that point because Bly is not only not having this third secured, he's going to be mining out of his main and natural in due time.
Yeah, I mean, this is... I'm not sure what... Like, he would have... Even sending in Corrosive Biles, which his sentries and his Void Ray almost dies to, there's just not enough of an army for Bly take this on. He's going up 2 disruptors. Looks like the robotics bay. Get some splash in here, and Bly is a stubborn guy. He always thinks he can win a game, but he's out of units.
Yeah, Harstem's controls been pretty good too. So I just want to point out, like, there's the weird bob and weave of the Void Ray early on to avoid the Spore Crawler instead of just A-moving across. Even here, dodging most of those corrosive biles. Losing these oracles seems a little bit needless, but he is just getting as much damage done up here while he continues to push. Third base doesn't die. Could finish it off. Maybe just doesn't want to deal with broodlings.
Yeah. Could catch all these roaches as they spawn.
Actually, yeah, that'd be nice. It's Queen, maybe with it too. Goes to the inject. Like, why? Well, because Harstem's going to spare the base, apparently. That's why. 72 army supply. He's got the +1 weapon upgrade going for him as well, on top of the resonating glaives. Everything about this screams Harstem, Harstem, and some more Harstem.
He's been calling this game over for a while.
I know.
Finally, we see it.
If Bly had like a secret base or a Nidus Worm or just something going for him, like, we could hype this up, but this really is just a man slowly bleeding out. And, well, someone might be like, nice GG timing. I mean, like, again, it's Bly. You don't understand. This guy never taps out, and a lot of games where we've been in this situation, where we've been, like, morose about the situation, and we think, it's all over, just why aren't you tapping out, buddy? Bly comes back and wins those games. So this looks really dumb, and I'm sure he's still going to lose. But there's been enough games where we've cast him that he's been able to come back that I totally understand why he doesn't leave. Like, it makes sense in Bly logic, in Bly world.
That sums up Bly pretty well. But losing that third base, Harstem knows there is no fourth with a pylon block, I guess, and he's getting his own fourth, in fact. Finally, the last of the army for Bly goes down. Yeah, just chase him down, hunt him down. Force field is gonna take him out.
See, I'm gonna get that fucking Void Ray, I swear to God.
Boom,
he gets it!
Okay, now he can GG, right?
Nailed it, yeah, there you go, GG!
Of course.
Clearly we know what's important when it comes to players and the game. People saying, Rifkin, you can't get inside the head of a player. You're only like Gold League. And I say, fuck you. That Void Ray call was so not important whatsoever. Alright, what's map number 3? I gotta get maps set up for this.
Orbital.
Okay, well, we don't have an intro for that, so that works perfectly. Said we'll just hop right into the action as soon as Sungroup's got it set up.
They've Bly relogged.
Okay. But the nice thing is, with only this is gonna be half, so 16 people to manage, it'll be a lot easier, because I gotta tell you guys, accommodating 32 people's schedule into several different time zones has been a real son of a bitch. But I'm glad we've got the Ting open going. It is tied up now 1-1, and spawning here on the top right side, it's Invasion Esports Harstem.
In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, he is Acer's Bly.
I guess just, again, a little bit of a nod to the tournament hosts, we're the tournament hosts. So yeah, nod to us. We're awesome. BaseTradeTV. Follow those guys on Twitter. But to the tournament sponsor, Ting. BTTV.ting.com. Make sure to check it out. It lets them know you came from the stream. It makes them know that money in esports is worth investing and might give us more in the future. But, okay, this is not a Drone Scout.
Ooh. So, I was going to say, we don't usually see Bly do the proxy hatch, believe it or not, versus Protoss, which has flipped since what it used to be. We see it a lot more versus Terran, but proxy hatches used to be quite common versus Protoss. Obnoxiously so. Well, it's like getting him from True and whatnot. But I don't know what he's going to do with this. Spinecrawler? Do the same thing with Roaches and Ravagers?
Okay, well, I'm breaking the graphs to show that Harstem just has no idea this is here at all. He does scout the other side of the map and see no base down, and question marks are going to get raised, but is that enough of a tell on its own?
I think so. Did you see the drones blow? I don't know. It's too late now to check. But he sees that the spawning pool timing, so he knows that a hatchery should be a down.
Yeah, so it is spines. Okay, this is going to be interesting. The reason this is really funny to see, because you brought up the drones, I didn't even register, I just thought that was the links for some reason, is the spine crawler version of this is something that kind of fell off because there weren't a lot of gold bases you could proxy. But the logic on this is kind of like what was happening in HOTS. You know, you've got more money and more drones to work with as a default in Legacy, so this might actually work out to be the same as if there was a gold base taken on old Heart of the Swarm. Now, one of the key elements to this is going to be having that Overlord out for some vision, a high ground vision to see what's going on. But as we see for Harstem, he does know about this now. It's not a question of like what's happening. It's how do I deal with what's happening.
Mm-hmm. So, believe it or not, this might be easier to hold than some of the Roach Ravager pushes we've been seeing Protoss have trouble with.
Yeah.
But it is something that you haven't seen in a while, and Harstem was the guy that we saw actually have a tough time against just regular old Muto Corruptor, as if he had forgotten how to deal with it. So, he might not remember how to deal with a proxy Spinecrawler rush, which you had a lot of practice with in Heart of the Swarm.
Now, the Robo being put really further back is going to be kind of important, but if that Queen gets these creep tumors down and we continue advancing on the front lines, Harstem is going to have to deal with Spinecrawlers actually in range of that even. There's no pylons covering the mineral lines right now. Oh no. An Immortal starts up. Queen gets under fire. She's going to kill the Mothership Core. No more photon overcharges.
No more gateways, no more Robo, no more pylons. Like, this is all game over if he gets that pylon.
Yeah.
Even without it, it's probably game over.
Even if the Immortal comes out, it's the Lings that'll kill that Immortal, not the Spinecrawlers, and he's going to desperately try and save it. But I think you're right. That's pretty much going to be game right there. GG.
Pretty quick.
All right. Well, Bly, yeah, pretty quick. Takes a very nice game number 3. Takes a small lead here, 2-1 over Harstem. We are going to go to a small break while we set up map number 4, folks. We won't be playing a ton of stuff. We're going to play a small ad break since we didn't get to earlier on account of the stream restart. So please enjoy a quick little tip from our sponsors while we get things set up. All right, folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching that quick break. We are getting into game number 4. This could be a deciding game on who lives and who dies. Spawning in the upper right side of Ruins of Cirrus, we've got none other than the blue Zerg player, Team Acer's Bly.
In the bottom left, as the pink Protoss, Invasion Esports Harstem.
The Bly does go for a pretty fast gas and pool here, and we've talked a lot about the gamble aspect of Ruins. And he is one of these crazy motherfuckers who would go for this really, really risky gamble.
Yes, he is. He did this versus Mana, and actually Mana's in the bottom right. He had the same exact Overlord pathing too, which went diagonal to the back of the map for whatever reason, as opposed to just straight into his base. But obviously that's not the case here. Harstem is diagonal, so maybe not the exact spawns that Bly wanted, but Bly does whatever he wants, wherever he wants, so he'll make it work.
That's good. He does what he likes. Now, as far as damage goes for this is really funny for me because we've talked about this pretty specifically with Huck in recent casts, where because of the way Huck does his SimCity and his mineral lines, he almost never falls prey to builds like this. Now, of course, that wouldn't affect the Nexus to be down here. You'd have to cancel it either way. But Harstem, he sees that with the probe. More Lings coming. Decides to put a little bit closer to the vest, but I don't know if that'll be enough. This is a really serious situation. The Mothership doesn't get to start until right now, so it's going to be some time till she's out, which means no overcharge for quite a while. And it's going to be several Lings in his base.
Yeah, of course, some of them went the wrong direction as he needed to scout where he was immediately, and now they're all collapsing together. They're not going to have speed for a while, and saving the pylon is going to be Harstem's first priority, so it will be easier to clean up the speedlings later on. But a Zealot unfortunately gets surrounded, not what he wanted. Has to bring the probes to try and help out, but too late. It's too little too late, and that pylon will go down.
Now, you could argue that Harstem could have canceled the Nexus and said, okay, now there's no problems whatsoever, just kept the Zealot in hold position. But defending this Nexus puts him ahead. So keeping this alive, I mean, he's got a nice probe count. I'm sure this looks a little messy initially. But Bly, despite having that speed advantage, doesn't get to take advantage with it.
He has a lot more Lings coming down now, and this is where it's really tests if you can hold this base round. This is what you really would want the pylon up and ready to go for, which it does finish. That's going to be 1 overcharge, and probably 2, actually, because it's going to take a while for the Nexus to go down if that was Bly's target. So I think that will be enough.
I
There's
like
the
that
first
bait.
one.
He like really waits to throw that out. It kills most of the lings because of the range, and now Harstem is in such a nice spot. Like I like what Bly did, because in fairness, this blindly kills a lot of people. Like, we've cast so many games of StarCraft 2, and we've seen so many people die to versions of this that have speed, that don't have speed. Again, that gamble effort. But it's Bly, and this guy is determined, he's stubborn, and he's going to still try to win this game. But Harstem has done a great job defending here in the early game.
Yes, he has. Again, getting a partial surround on the Adept, but the second Photon Overcharge is ready to go. Now the third one is going to take a while, and that's where maybe Bly could do something, but...
There should be enough units out of Harstem to defend next. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be a little bit of SimCity coming down too, that'll help. Just kind of hide up in this corner, stack those drones up. Maybe these get kills, but the thing is, the Mothership Core is going to be the best defense tool above all else, because nothing is going to hit it while this goes on. Thank you, Matt the Swine, by the way, for a 23 resub chain.
So Bly is adding on an Evolution Chamber, as well as just a few more drones to try and start dropping. But again, this is all... There is no flood effect. There is no snowball effect where Harstem was slowly bleeding out units. He does start to maybe bleed out one or two probes. Not even? Oh, there we go. 2 probes. That's it. That's actually really nice for Harstem. So Harstem defending against lane drop should not be the same problem as if he had only just barely saved his Nexus, lost a bunch of probes, kept on losing Adepts. The lane drop does commence right now. And it might get a couple of probe kills.
But here's the thing, right? There's an Oracle out, so he can keep this at home to defend. He can transfer the Adepts over. He's got more than enough of them. I applaud what Bly's attempts are to do damage in this situation, but it's not going to cut it.
Nope. Oracle popped out at a pretty perfect time, so only 3 more. Total of 9.
Like, let's hesitate for a moment and say Bly had even waited and came in from the north instead of this side too. Like, that Oracle would have gone straight across the map. Being home was so perfectly timed for this. And again, tries to get some probe kills, and he is getting some probe kills. Just nothing too monumental. And Bly, I mean, kind of bridging that gap. We'll take a look at the income graph, though, and I'm sure, yep, it's all pink. It's all pink, baby.
Hey. So Bly's main problem right now, well, he has a lot of problems, but one of the main problems is that there's a lot of army. All of his follow-ups are over and done with. He's tried the 2 Ling follow-ups with a nice amount of Lings, and it didn't work. He tried the Ling drop, it didn't work. And now with 10 army supply, mostly Lings, it's going to be hard to defend against anything Harstem can throw at him, which does include just sending these Adepts that we see right here across the map. They'll take a while to get over there, but if Bly's trying to get a third base and drone, which is exactly what he's trying to do, the Adepts will force him to make Lings, and also might just kill a lot, because Bly doesn't have a Roach Warren. And if these Adepts get into a good position, even Lings won't cut it.
Yeah. That is a lot. I guess it depends, though, because we may see Harstem split them and start dancing around instead of going for one consolidated attack. And that's not a bad thing, of course, but it does mean that he'll have a better chance to get those rounds, to get those kills. But approaching the other side of the map, there's going to be the Oracle to escort on top of all of this, so even if the Queens focus this down, that's a big target that the Adepts are not being killed over.
The Oracle could definitely help out against the Lings, and maybe 1 or 2 Queen at a time, but not if all 3 help defend. The third base might just be forfeit here. Bly doesn't want to really commit to tackling these Adepts, because they might just go into the mineral line or the gas geyser. He actually escapes. I think he's really scared the roaches are going to come out.
Yeah, that's not the timing, though. You think he would have scouted this.
There's almost no other reason as to why you would leave. You can take a really good trade, even, at the very least. But maybe scared for the sake of his third. If he did give away all these Adepts, he wouldn't have anything buying time. And maybe the Lings would have gotten us around on it.
He actually trades out pretty decently with the Adepts here. It's the Oracle that really is the turning factor in that battle. But, I would have loved to see the Oracle maybe try and catch some of these Lings with a stasis trap. I mean, Harstem's playing macro behind this. I mean, that's the emphasis here, right? Like, he maybe had a kill move, maybe he didn't, but the second he made more than 2 Phoenix, he was going to play a little bit more into that macro game. And I don't know, I kind of feel like if he had stasis trapped the ramp, and then just kept attacking with the Adepts and stayed in that mineral line, we could have seen a lot of damage. But as you predicted, as we know, he probably was a little bit scared of what was coming. Just didn't realize it was nothing.
Well, regardless of those adepts, he has a much bigger army now and shouldn't be nearly as scared. The Roachborn is still not done, too, so still not to worry about that. No upgrades either in these Lings. They're going to try and maybe take a sentry off 1 or 2 at a time, but that's not going to be enough. And Harstem is going to tie up the series.
Yeah, it's looking really good. Drone's getting pulled away out of fear, but as we know, guys, Bly's not someone to tap out too easily. With those roaches about to spawn, Broodlings and Lings with a full surround, and a Spinecrawler here. Harstem's best option was to recall, and I'm really glad he did, because if he didn't, he was going to lose a lot of units.
Yeah. He would have been able to replace them, and he still would have been in the lead, but better to save those units, come back in another minute or two, and determine, like, really solidify the win. Bly takes another third to the top, so I guess he's going to double expand. He is banking quite a few minerals.
Look at
despite being on a low drone count.
Just look at the money this game.
All pink.
Yeah.
Ooh, triple robo and a 4th base, which Bly does scout with a couple of Lings. His army, whatever's left of it, which is 95% Lings, is going to try and deny it, but...
Yeah, with the War Prism here, this gets really
there.
annoying, because Harstem could just do some fancy pickup drop micro, but he's not. He's running away, because I guess he thought it was going to be a bigger attack than it was. He is... I mean, rightfully so. Harstem is giving Bly too much credit for a lot of these positions and a lot of these engagements. And I don't blame him, because Bly is a guy who's constantly fighting with a big army. But funny enough, this very weak army has bluffed Harstem on like 2 different occasions now.
I don't know if that was the bluff. I think there was just a misclick.
Really? Because I mean, like, he was going specifically to this corner to minimize surface area.
Yeah, why
so...
would... I don't know. We won't know unless Harstem mentions that on Twitter. But I feel like you would just go behind your mineral lines if it has a gas geyser. Oh well. The 4th base is once again being attacked by the Lings. Harstem just the tiniest bit out of position once again. I mean, the more that Bly can get even just cancels on this, the better for him. But his Lings do die. Hydras and Lurkers are a pretty good bet to try and come back in this game. Like, you know, Lurkers, you don't anticipate them. They can do a lot of damage, but Harstem can go for triple robo, so he has a good number of Immortals, and he will have Observers, hopefully, and his Phoenixes should see all of this even before his main army pushes out.
Yeah, he's continuing to be a real pain in the ass on the other side of the map with those Phoenix. Really nicely done.
+2 charge, finishing up. He might wait for Templars to be really safe.
Well, it was a little bit we saw do versus TLO, right? Where he just went like triple robo and just went ham on the Immortals. And it's funny to see this game shape up like this, because Bly actually has a potential standing chance with those Lurkers, but again, the likelihood of this is low.
Well, 6 Lurkers isn't a bad number. But even 20, honestly, would do... These amount of Immortals would do well against with a Concave. Catches this mineral line a little off guard, but a cannon is finishing up, and this is all the Lings. Like, they're really not that powerful enough to draw an army back.
No, it's fine. I mean, the warp band, the cannon, put on overcharge, good to go. I do wish he had actually brought the Mothership Core with the army. I thought the recall earlier was fantastic. It was cool. Photon overcharge is not that important this late into the game. And we've been seeing more and more players do that sort of hit-and-run recall tactic, and I've just been, so in love with it.
So the problem with the Lurker count also has to do with they just can't really spread out that much. They're still at a pretty low number, so...
Oh, that's not a good position here either.
Repositioning to take care of the 4th and the 3rd is going to be difficult for Bly. Just snipe the 4th and get out, then have to take the fights.
Yeah. Although he's going to try to. Force fields a lot of roaches, sees the opportunity to catch these Hydras. He is trying to stay outside of range of the Lurkers while he does this, and he's doing a good job so far. That Immortal count is up to 10. Oh, God.
That is a lot. And he can instantly warp in quite a few charge-outs to cover them, too. And they will definitely soak up a lot of that damage. Doesn't want to go into Spore Crawlers, because he's going to lose his detection that way. Almost does. There you go. Intentional snipe by Bly there. The Observers do need to be reduced here, or an Oracle needs to come out. He's getting a Stargate. He's, he could push past this and win. He's a double army with the army supply, but this is the safe way to go.
He did pump out a ton of Observers, although he's at 4 on the way. Just kind of slowly flying across the map. So Detection, obviously a bit of an issue. Now, the fact that he's going Tempest, like, this is so crazy to me that Harstem lets it get to this late of a game, but he still has a really nice lead. I mean, look at the overall supply. Look at the army supply. Comes in here with a bit of an A move, probably will just win the game here before he even has to worry about Tempest, but even if he somehow loses and Bly holds this, because Harstem has no detection, oh god.
Oh god.
It's the fact that Harstem has a good follow-up. So again, even though he gets trucked, he's still in a really great spot.
Mm-hmm. He's very scared of, I think, the, not any game he played in this series, but like that Dusk Tower game where 1 second not pulling your immortals back lost him all of his immortals against the Lurkers, but finally pushes in and ends the game, and we're going to that ace match.
Game 5 hype! Now we are only ever so slightly behind schedule at this point, but only because of the Twitch hiccups earlier. So I gotta say, I'm still liking best of 5s, even when we go Game 5, even when we go ace match. The timing on this is really nice. And we are getting a pretty good amount of games out of it, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know a lot of other organizations are still planning to keep best of 3s, and that's fine, but I hope at some point people realize, like, I mean, personally, I really like the best of 5s, but objectively, I think it gives better potential for comebacks, right? Like, a lot of these 2-1s, 2-0s, that would have been the end of a series. We would have never seen Game 4. We never would have seen Game 5.
Yes, that's true.
In fact, just the other with the Euthermal, right? Like, that was a good comeback series, turnaround, and all that good stuff. But let me queue up Orena. It won't be good whenever they are. If I can find it. There we go.
Corsair sure likes his pink.
I like pink. It's really bright. It's close to white. It looks nice.
That's a good point. It is close to white. The closest we're going to have in StarCraft.
I still think it's so silly we don't know black and white, but it's not, not the end of the world. There's worse things I wish they would fix before that.
I thought you were going to say there's worse things in the world, and I was like, I disagree.
No, in StarCraft.
This is literally the worst.
In the StarCraft world, there's worse things. All right, game number 5 here in the Ting Open. Spawning in the bottom left side of the map, we've got the double extractor tricking Acer's Bly.
And early drone scouting.
Well, is it a drone scout though?
Yeah. In the top left, as the pink Protoss, he is Harstem.
All right, someone in chat, by the way, is asking, can I have your cookies? Asking who is casting. And unfortunately, there are no casters here, friend. Only StarCraft 2 field reporters. So I have no answer for you. Some people are trying to say Rifkin and Zombie Grub, but that's not our job title.
That was not for a proxy, it looks like. Although I think it might have been, depending on what he scouted.
Yeah, that's
just an early drone scout.
At the same time, but he might go for the gold. Oh, he is. Oh, he's gonna go for the gold. That's so cool because Harstem's gonna scout this, right? Be like, okay, what the fuck is up, right? Like, you've got no natural base. You've proxied me like way too many times with this cheesy BS. Like, he might actually overreact at home when really all he would do is identify Bly took a gold.
This is the first time I think we've seen the gold as an intentional build, not as like a base race or like I was already not dead, so I should have taken a gold base, but like an actual, I'm going for the gold immediately, like we saw on Terraform or Habitation Station.
Yeah, the context reason Zamriov's given that strange definition is because we've seen so many games where like you've had people like Patience versus Beyond kind of like panic and take this base as a result, not because you wanted to. We've had the middle base taken as well by Terran's lifting all over the place. I don't know. It's cool to see this being like an actual, I'm going for that build. Now, the downside to this, obviously, it's very far away. But what I find rather funny about this is, like, let's say Harstem wants to walk across the map with his adepts and zealots to attack the base, right? That means Bly is going to very easily push through the middle of the map and counterattack while that goes on. Or alternatively, if it is two armies racing to the same location on the right side of the map, Bly gets there first every time. Also, the map looks a little bit inappropriate right now.
Does it? I don't know what you're talking about. This map is beautiful.
I can't. I'm 4 years old. I can't do this. Someone needs to explore some other Fog of War, please.
Really are.
Oh no, now it's got like a lump. That's not good. You need to go see a doctor, Bly.
Okay. So, Harstem still doesn't know what's up. And even if he had a guess, as you said, he wouldn't really be able to do anything about it. Until he felt more confident with his army. I mean, if he did go for the 6 or 7 adept run-in, sending it to the gold base if you knew it was there would probably be better. But it's only if you knew it was there. Harstem trying to deal with these lings, has to warp in the main, but he doesn't have a warp in. It's a warp in.
Ooh. So just runs by. I'm not sure Bly's going to get many kills with this, but just getting scouting information in the main is always nice when you're fighting against Protoss. So unfortunately, lings go down without a single probe dying. Okay, there we go. Double kill right at the very end.
Mm-hmm. So, 2 more lings are going to be... Okay, 1 more ling, and then 0 lings. Gotcha.
You need to stop death noting these. Just
death notes.
Stop.
You're number 2 and you're number 1. So, they got a scout, as you said, though. And while the other 2, maybe they could have continued to be a nuisance and continued to scouts, I think Bly got what he sort of wanted from that. Of course, he wanted more drone kills, but close enough. Lings are tearing down the rocks in the middle of the map, I guess just to have something to do. And, of course, Harstem has been... He blocked him at least once with a pylon in the middle of the road, so I don't know. Could be getting aggressive. It'll look really odd seeing units come from that gold base, but they are going to the same place.
This is... Yeah, the rocks being down actually is pretty huge in that small detail. Now, unfortunately, I broke the income graph to look at the penis on the map. I'm wondering, has the gold base been worth it for Bly so far? Has he caught up?
Yes, he had a huge spike, and he has definitely overtaken Harstem's pink graph.
Soft pink graph.
Mm-hmm. Stardust 700, thank you for subbing.
Yay! Puts me back in the right mindset. I just drift off into Ludum for no reason.
Yeah.
Ludidity.
Yeah. We were pretty lewd in chat last night.
Last night during the Ting Open, that was all you, man. You riled me up. That's not fair to say us.
It was so good how you put it in such good words, you know? That was amazing.
Of course, when we're not casting, guys, sometimes we like to hang out and chat and things get a little bit stupid. But okay, funny enough, this normal attack is really quite scary. Bly's going for a counterattack with these lings, but he actually needs every ling at home to feel for cannon fodder because, yeah, Harstem's at his doorstep with sentries, immortals, warp prism does get picked off actually, so this takes a lot of power away from the attack, but he's still going to catch the Ravagers.
He immediately makes another warp prism, realizing that he has an opportunity here. He's probably wondering, where's the reinforcements? And they're actually coming from behind you, bro. More lings, the lings that try to get past, as well as lings coming from the gold base. He gets to the choke, though. Pretty perfect timing on that. I ended up not going so bad, because the warp prism going down that quickly usually means, things are going to go really, really bad. So for Harstem to actually just be able to back off from this is quite okay.
He's not going to, though, Zombie, but once again, you're jinxing and death noting everything and everyone you talk about, because he decides to push forward. And the lings are going to kill. The immortals going to kill the sentries. It's a slow death, but it's a death nonetheless. But he does take out a lot of really heavy hitting units from Bly, so still not in a terrible spot.
Yeah, exactly. Not a bad spot. I think that push in wasn't that bad either. The immortal does get targeted fire this time, so that's it for all of his really important heavy hitting units, and it is just about those adepts now. And they don't have any upgrades. This was purely a 2-base attack that so far isn't breaking Bly. But, I mean, when you look at the situation, Bly on such a low drone count, of course, is being supplemented by the gold base, but not on that much of a higher of a army count either. Harstem could try and macro out of this.
He still doesn't know about the gold base, though, so this has got to be really strange to him. He thinks it's 2-base versus 2-base, so, oh, my attack should be fine. Oh, this harass should do some very severe damage because Bly is on 2 bases. But really, we know it's 3, and Bly's economy has been fantastic. So, Harstem... I don't even know if he's thinking about scouting anytime soon. I already broke the graph. I'll check vision. He's still, absolutely not even made it halfway across the map. He has no idea what Bly's been getting away with this entire time.
So he's probably awfully confused. It's I could have sworn I didn't see a 3rd base. How is he reinforcing so much? But I have the income graph, and Bly is still overtaking him by quite a bit. It's only just starting to go down, I suppose, as the adepts harassed, and the gold minerals are also getting lower and lower. Saturation is getting worse and worse. So Harstem, if he could get a third base up, he would be fine in the macro game. But now Bly is one pushing in here, trying to take advantage of the chokes. Gonna try and get a couple of crisp files. Gets one.
So here we go. First indication something's up. I mean, Harstem is a smart guy. He probably pieced this together like, all right, 2 + 2 = 4. You didn't take a hidden base. You took the gold base. And it's really unfortunate because Bly, I mean, like, he did mine a lot of this base out. Even if he has to give this up, which he might not even. Just pull the drones away and go back later. But this is actually going to take away a lot of the power of what he's been able to fight with on that low drone count. Now the fact that he's down to 32, he's not going to be able to keep mass-producing roaches at the same rate he was before.
Yeah, exactly. That was a very good maneuver for Harstem here. So.
I fuck this up every month. You do the shot.
Kalari Shatal.
Kalari.
Thank you for resubbing for
I
months.
always get stuck. Like, I know it's not Kilaris, but I always forget where the cutoff is. So Kalari Shatal. Thank you so much.
I got it. So the gold base just goes down entirely. I think that's a good move. Yeah, he could have just continued to try and, harass the natural and the warp prism, but actually bothering to tear down the gold base ensures Bly just doesn't sneakily go back over there, because you never scout the right side of the arena. Like,
no.
The fact that he did once was surprising.
I mean, it's clever. I really like what Bly did, and I stand by, like, every time he does that again, I'm going to be super happy and stoked. But I don't know if it got him enough into the game. Like, it's not a question of being ahead economically at this point. It's what army looks better. And truthfully, these Ravagers, while this looks really scary at a glance, you're like, wow, Bly's got how many 19 corrosive biles he can land at any given time? It's the fact that these are all really low health units that don't have a lot of cannon fodder to them. That don't have a ton of roaches to sit in front of them.
Yeah. Harstem continuing on Immortals wouldn't have been bad, but he is getting a robotic space. I'm going to guess for Disruptors, which they get a good hit. That army is really quite clumped up, and they would kill a lot of Ravagers. It looks like Bly's going to attack before anything from the robotic space is going to be ready to go. First actually gets a second Stargate, or first Stargate. Sorry.
If Bly loses this to Disruptors, I think he's going to go full on tilt. I'm just saying.
Maybe. The engagement's going to go down here. The Adepts runs into the middle of the Ravagers. He is going to let that transfer.
They don't have Resonating Glaives, so their attacks are rather slow in this instance, which means they're not going to fare well against those Ravagers. Oh, the Immortals get every single Crucible painted on them. Their health falls down very quickly. They've got to move again, but he stays still, and Harstem losing everything now. Perhaps a little too far gone. He was trying to harass on the other side of the field, and because of that lack of attention to the important part of his army, he loses it.
Yeah. Those 4 Immortals, plus I think like 1 or 2 Adepts with them or something like that could have been the difference between holding and losing this game, which he is very close to doing. Now, it is just Ravagers, so if an army does come out somehow from Harstem to the Disruptor, they'll go down super quickly. And everything could just go topsy-turvy once again, but he's got to buy time for an army and for the Disruptor, who hopefully will pop out on the right side. It does.
Okay, but even then, it's a question of like whether this can even get the hit. Not great, but not over yet.
But the Robo goes down. That's a lot more important.
The Dark Shrine's pretty clever behind this. Actually, he's been getting away with a lot of Warp Prism harass. He killed some drones with this one, not a lot, but DTs would certainly defend well if he could get them. But that building is going to take so long to build.
Another Disruptor shot's going to get 4 Ravagers. Okay, 3. Disruptor should live. Got to get him up to the high ground, and more roaches are coming through. Okay, that's actually probably it. When it was just Ravagers, it was okay, but then the reinforcements came in. They dealt with the Warp Prism, and Harstem was so close to keeping this game together.
Mothership Core dies. GG. Aces Bly going to continue the group. But sadly, Harstem, again, the only Protoss player to actually qualify through, will fall. Now, I guess I should clarify this because, again, if you guys are Protoss fans in the audience, there are other Protoss players playing in the tournament. We invited them, but Harstem was the only one to actually earn his spot. So, very sad to see him fall. And I think the next big thing for him is going to be IAM Katowice, so we wish him the best of luck over there. We are going to get vetoes sorted with Euthermal and Lambo, though, ASAP. And play some ads from our sponsors while we wait. So, again, read it out earlier. I'm going to do it again to the best of my ability. I will probably fuck this up, so if Jesse is watching, my bad. Because I fumbled over this earlier. But the quick TLDR on what Ting is. One, it's a U.S. mobile phone service, so it means it's only available if you're in the United States. Two, they're looking to save you some money every month on your phone bill. You can certainly start by getting $25 in credit by going to bttv.ting.com over there, the general direction my arm's pointing. And then three, they really help out. Like the marketing strategy for this is brilliant in my mind, because their service does cater best towards people who are on Wi-Fi all the time. Not to say like they don't offer data packages or anything, because it's pay for what you use. But it's really clever to, like, I think, get involved with like an esports thing where everybody watching is probably on wireless like right now. However, here's the blurb about the Wi-Fi situation. Ting's rates are pay for what you use, meaning if you use less, you pay less. While Ting isn't the best option for super heavy data users, you may be using a lot more cellular data than you actually need to. Many viewers may be thinking, oh, well, I've got an unlimited plan, so it doesn't make sense for me to switch. But you may not realize there's a ton of other ways to lower your mobile data usage without changing your smartphone experience whatsoever. And the pre-written stuff. And that's exactly what they want to do, guys. Like, there's a calculator on the website that'll figure out if you can even save money in the first place. There's a lot of ways that they try and make it so you don't swap them if it's not beneficial to you. But Ting helps in a lot of places that will save you money where your current phone plan probably doesn't. Is the data better with what you have right now? Maybe, but the texting might be better with Ting, or calling, or vice versa. So all these different options to check out and try, and explore it at bttv.ting.com. That being said, let's watch some breaks, let's watch some ads, some words from our sponsors, and we'll be back with, whenever you thermal's back, I guess, with the vetoes and such. We'll see you soon.